Chris from Airwindows, and hey, you can do this. Because this is Airwindows Doublelay. Now this is not actually meant to be demonstrated with a synthesizer. It's designed because somebody that I know asked me for this to use on vocals. I don't have vocals. I tend to do instrumental music. You might hear it on their work eventually if they like it. And when I say Doublelay, what I mean is, watch this. Doubling. Same as stereo doubler, which is a center thing. And then the sides are pitch shifted. Doublelay. So as you can see, I've got a detune, delay left and delay right. There's a feedback, which I will show you in a moment, and dry wet. We have independent left and right delays. So what's happening here is I've got a moderate detune. That means that the signal going to the delays is going to be pitch shifted in opposite directions. One side's going to go bright and the sharp, and the other side's going to go flat. Independent delays, and we've got our feedback, and dry wet can be set to, like, I've got it slightly more heavy towards the wet so you can hear them. And you can hear that the center channel is giving you a mono, and then the echoes to the sides are the pitch shifted echoes. We can tighten this up a little bit. And we can pitch shift them farther. Until it's quite far. Here's what the sides are doing. And here's what the mono is doing. And here's what feedback does. So what's happening here is feedback is feeding back into the delays in a combination of direct feedback and cross modulation. The cross modulation means stuff is getting pitch shifted up and then back down and then up and back down again, or the inverse. And the stuff that's going directly into each channel is just continuing to be shifted up or down. When you have it cranked up to full feedback, this is what happens. And that is 100% feedback. In theory, this should be sustaining forever, which is what will happen if you have it at detune of more or less 0. That's when it starts hanging around forever. And if you take it a little tiny bit off, and again with 100% feedback, you have this sort of blurry stereo washy thing going on. There is no reverb in any of this. If we added reverb, we'd have this. but we're taking that off. This is only Doublelay happening. Now the intended purpose for this, and I can also show you what feedback sounds like when it's not as full crank. Because the original request was to have a stereo doubler that also had independent delay times so that you would have a kind of thickening effect. And I think the idea was that it was going to be about 100 milliseconds or so. So it was going to be around this. Just an additional blurring, widening kind of thing, and separating out those stereo pitch shifts from their original sound, which can be more direct. And indeed, that's a neat thing. But when you start incorporating the feedback into it, here's where you start getting into what Doublelay can actually do. That's getting a little noisy. So we get a nice sort of environmental thing going on, and the reason that the feedback is working so well is it is that combination of cross modulation and direct modulation which just continues the pitch shifting going. Either one by itself isn't that impressive, and people who are following Airwindows closely will probably be unsurprised to learn that the optimal balance between the direct and the cross modulation is golden ratio. Just worked perfectly. And of course, we can also, the delay is in seconds, so we can do this. The gentle ticking is part of the pitch shifting algorithm. This is stereo doubler, which is based on glitch shifter. Let's dial the detune right back and have more dry. And so this is a nice little, very stereo, actually it doesn't have to be this sustained, ambience effect without reverb. It is entirely done with just a couple of delays and the pitch shift. In fact, let's make it be just for laughs, we'll get as close to golden ratio in this as we can. 617 is as close as I can get relative to the 1 second delay. And now we have a sort of giant infinite reverb thing, which is not actually reverb at all. This is entirely two stereo delays, or one stereo delay, but it's two separate taps, one for each side, and this particular kind of feedback and the pitch shift. And we have a very delicate pitch shift here. There you have it. It's like a super giant mondo reverb, but it's not. It is a very simple algorithm, and again, what I was saying about stereo doubler, it's based on glitch shifter. Glitch shifter is the old pitch shift that I did where the loops that it uses to do the pitch shifting with, having a delay tap go faster or slower than it's supposed to, It's designed so that it can switch between places in the loop instantaneously without any blur. So there is no crossfade anywhere in this algorithm. That's why you hear a bit of a tick sometimes. It's because every second of it is as raw a take on the original sound as you can get. Let's play with our little games with golden ratio again and see what we get with a feedback of as close to 0.618 as I can get. And let's make everything that way. Oh, that one got it. So here's the thing. Sometimes stuff just lines up in interesting ways. And here we have Doublelay serving as pretty much a giant spacious delay. There is no delay. It's only 2 echoes at a very long delay time and pitch shifting. And we can exaggerate the pitch shifting if we want. For a bit of a thicker sound with this ambience that we're creating. And that's really thickening things up kind of a lot. Very chorusy effect going on. It's an intense pitch shift on the doubler. We can also do the opposite direction if you would like your sharp sound to be on the left or the right. Pick between those using detune. And now let's see what we get when we have no pitch shift at all. So all very well, I'm going to look back to the beginning again, having a simple mechanism of delays doing this, and that is available to you. But when you combine these things, like the person who requested it, hopefully they'll show up and say thank you because I was the one who requested this. Somebody whose work I like a lot. We don't really have to do much pitch shift at all to start widening things up a little bit. It's no longer nearly as static as it was. And the amount of feedback and things that we're working with. For fun, let's also make it really this is a little closer to what the original requester wanted. And here is just a couple of ambiences. And we don't need to have as much feedback either. There you are. A nice little enveloping space. Again, the delays are in increments of 1 second, so the maximum delay is 1 second, like this. And then there's a simple 1 second with enough delay that it sounds very doubled. And then if we wanted to simplify it so that it's not doubled like that, now it's imitating a simple 1 second delay. And half a second to 1 second. And then 100% feedback, creating a pad. hearing a little bit of the ticking because we have a tiny bit of pitch shift in there, so let's add a little more. Doublelay is a open source plugin, and it is free for you to download and use. It is MIT licensed, meaning that if you do things like, I don't know, build guitar pedals or synthesizers, hello Surge Synth team, this one might be of interest to you. You can use this, you just have to credit Airwindows to do it. That's what the MIT license does. It's very permissive. You do have to credit. And it's yours. I look forward to hearing what the fellow who is asking me for this, if he chimes in or shows up, I can tell you the stuff that's in my record collection that he did. And that would be very exciting. But in the absence of that, he will at least be able to use it, and that'll be pleasing. I hope you like Doublelay. All of this is supported by my Patreon. That's why I'm still here years later, continuing to come up with new stuff and work variations like this on things that I've already done. And I have every intention of continuing. I've got some neat stuff coming up, which I'm quite looking forward to. And I have an album coming out, which you were not just hearing, by the way. You have not heard the album that's coming out. I've been listening to like electronic music and drum and bass kind of things, and you've heard me do stuff like it, but that would be telling. I will show you what I'm doing pretty soon. But for now, I hope you like Doublelay. Thanks, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.